time now, may I invite our champion speaker for the workshop, Mohammed Qahtani.
Now, most of us in Toastmasters join to become either better leaders or better speakers. And we give our speeches in the club meetings and we are developing throughout. But for a lot of us, Toastmasters is the only platform where we speak. And we wonder, what would it take for me to take it outside and become a professional speaker? Like one of those speakers who get paid to speak and fly all over the world and be in conferences outside of Toastmasters. So in my workshop today, I'll be discussing breaking out of the Toastmaster shell and taking your speaking ability into the real world and maybe making a profit out of it as well. Now, in the real world, you could be either a speaker, a trainer, a coach, or an MC. Basically, these are the four main types of engagement with the audience. You could be a keynote speaker at an event. You could be a trainer who gives a training on specific topics to a bunch of people. You could coach a person to become a better speaker. Or you could be the master of ceremony, the MC of an event, the person who gets the audience all hyped up and carries before the speakers come online. And in order for you to break into this world, I would like to break it down into simple steps that you can start working on from now. And the first step is to develop a killer material. And what I mean by that is, if you want to be a speaker, you develop a killer keynote speech. A keynote speech that people would love to hear. If you are a trainer, you develop a 2 days or a 3 days training program on a topic that you are very, knowledgeable about. And this, by the way, is the thing that will take the most time out of you. Why? Because there is a lot of speakers in the market and there is a lot of trainers in the market. And what will make you stand out? What will make you be more special? What will make people want to call you again, want to hear from you again? The key here is to provide something that the audience need. And you can use Toastmasters to your advantage in that point. For example, if you build a speech, a keynote speech, you can ask your Toastmasters club and say, you know what, I have a keynote speech that I want to try out and get your feedback on. You give a keynote and get feedback from the audience. Did the audience really enjoy it? Or was it, nah, I don't know, maybe it needs more work. And when you get an evaluation from your Toastmaster members, ask for an honest, harsh feedback. Because I know in Toastmasters, we tend to evaluate to motivate and we try not to crush the speaker, but no, you need some harsh evaluation because speaking Toastmasters is not the same as speaking outside. So start building your speech or start building your course that you're going to be training on and test it out in your Toastmaster environment, in your club, maybe in more than one club, and see the feedback of people. Which part was really great? Which part was kind of boring? Which part that you need to work more on, and so on. And once you're happy with the material that you have, we move to step number 2. Now, people don't know who you are. They have no idea what you are capable of. Within the Toastmaster fraternity, people might know you, but outside, you're still unknown. And that's why step number 2 is you offer this speech or this training course for free. And you can use your Toastmaster connection. You know, when you look at all the members in your club, everybody works in a company or everybody is in an institute or an educational, institute, and so on. Start reaching out to those people and say, I would like to offer my course or my speech or my workshop at your company, free of charge, because I want to test it out. And of course, nobody's going to say no to free. People will take you on. Yeah, please come in. And that's a chance to start speaking outside. So this is step number 2. Step number 3 is documenting your work. If you go and speak at organizations, but nobody knows that you're speaking there, it's useless. So what you need to do is ask a friend of yours to come along, or ask one of the audience, if you know anyone in the audience, to take pictures of you or to record you in a video. And I would recommend that if you have a video camera, that you bring it along and have it set up at the back of the room and record yourself speaking at that event. Then what you need to do is, whatever pictures it's taking and whatever like videos you took, post it on social media. And I would recommend that you branch out to more than one platform. I know a lot of us are just really comfortable with only, for example, Facebook, and you don't do anything else. I myself, my weak point is I'm not really good in social media, but I had to learn how to do that. Post your photos on Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, LinkedIn, pictures of you on stage speaking, and with the tagline, "Thank you for so-and-so, company or like university or college, whatever, for hosting me when I spoke about this topic." Now, why is that important? Is because a lot of speakers who get booked to speak, the clients most likely don't even know what you're speaking about. So why are they booking you? Because they saw you speaking on Facebook or YouTube or like whatever. So they said, I want to get this guy. In fact, most of the clients that book me to speak, they don't even know that I am a world champion. I remember like one time, this client called me and they booked me to speak at their event. And then a day before, the MC of the event called me and he said, we would like to know the introduction that you want before you go on stage. And I said, you can just use the usual introduction, Mohammed Qahtani, the world champion of public speaking. And he said, oh my God, you were the world champion of public speaking? I said, why did you book me if you didn't know that? And they said, no, we just saw one of your speeches on YouTube, but we didn't really know that you're a world champion. And that gives you an indication that even the title of world champion doesn't even get you so far. What gets you far enough is your presence on social media. When you speak, have some snippets of your speech, post it on YouTube as a video. Take photos, post it on Instagram and Snapchat and Facebook, and like whatever social media platform that you can have your hands on. When people see you speaking here and there and here and there and here and there, they don't even know that you're speaking for free. But they're thinking, oh my God, he must be really good. Look here, he's all over the place. He's speaking here, he's speaking there. He must be great. And that moves me to step number 4. You're gonna keep doing this free speech things for a while, for months even. And you will notice that at the beginning, you were offering it for free, but now clients are calling you. They want you to speak. What do? Even if they're not offering anything, say yes. Because you still need exposure. But now it's turning to the good side because you're not offering it anymore. The clients are calling you. So keep offering it for free until you get to the point where you're doing 3 or 4 events every month. If you can get 4 clients to call you every month, even if it's for free, if you can get 4 events every month solid, that is your signal that now I can start charging speaking fees. And here's a question that a lot of people ask me: how much should I charge? Honestly, it's up to you. There's always a fine line because you don't want to charge too high and then the client says no. You don't want to charge too low and you become cheap. But I would recommend that you start gradually. For example, start with $1,000 as a speaking fee. If you notice that half of the client accept and the other half says no, then you are on the right track, which means at least there are some clients who still are willing to pay you that much to speak. And stay on that fee for a few months until you notice that all the clients who are calling you, when you say, I demand $1,000 as a speaking fee, and they say yes, now it's time to maybe increase your fee a little bit. So the next time a new client calls you, now maybe you charge $1,500 and so on. I started like this, and now I am at the $5,000 per event. But I did it gradually because I didn't want to lose clients along the way. Step number 5, exposure. You will not be invited again unless there is so much exposure around you that people know that you are speaking everywhere. My first advice for this is get a chance to speak at a TEDx event. Now, at TEDx, you can actually Google a TEDx in your area, and you'll find that there's a lot of TEDx events happening in your area in Hong Kong, for example. And you can actually apply to be a TEDx speaker. And in the application, you can include that you have been speaking here and there, and you can include a topic that you know is very crisp, the audience wants to hear. Because once you get to speak on a TEDx platform, a lot more people globally will get to see you. I've done so far, I think 5 or 6 TEDx speeches. You're not going to get paid to speak in a TEDx, but it's a really good area where you can get some exposure. As I said, post videos online. Start a YouTube channel. And every time you go speak, ask the client that you're going to be speaking at if it's possible for your speech to be recorded. I know some clients, they kind of reserved about the events. They don't want the outsiders to know what the event is about. But most clients will say, yes, you're more than welcome to record your speech. Go there early, bring a tripod and your camera, and set it in a place where you can get a really good view of you on stage. When I say a good view, that means not like a far view like this, but something where most of your body can be shown. And if you're going to be sitting at the camera, if you have a person there with you, a friend who can help you to move the camera along, that's great. If not, that means that you're not going to do much movement on stage because you want to record your entire speech and post it on YouTube. Now, here is a challenge. Why? Because as I said earlier, you have to build a speech, a really good, powerful speech that the audience wants to hear. But then once you post your speech online, you can't repeat the speech again, but people would always expect you to speak about something new, which means you always have to write something new. And I would recommend you write at least 5 or 6 speeches, have it ready on topics that you know the corporations want. For example, how to deal with like millennials in the workplace, how to handle the pandemic when we emerge out of it, how to bounce back after a financial disaster, how to build a harmonious team that you can work with. These are the topics that most companies are looking for. So start your research and start writing and to build your material. Have 5 or 6 speeches ready, because when a client calls you and says, I would like you to speak at my event and I want you to speak about this topic, for example, you know you already have it ready. Maybe you can do a few tweaks to fit that specific audience, but the speech itself is ready. Now, this means that it's going to take a lot of time from you to always write something new. Have a website. Develop a website of yourself. Why? Because it's a good business card. When a client search you on Google, and they don't find the website for you, the first assumption is this guy is an amateur. He just, he's not really a professional speaker. Have a website. If you go to my website at qahtanispeaks.com, there's a section there of events. And when you click on it, you see posters of all of the events that I did. Now, this entices the client because when they see you have spoken here and there and here and there, and you're speaking like 3 or 4 times a month, they think, oh my God, this guy is really good. He must be a really good speaker. And that entices the client to persuade you even more. You're not just an amateur speaker who speaks once every 3 months. You're speaking on a regular basis. And I cannot stress this enough. You have to have a very strong social media presence. If you're not posting photos or videos of your speeches, you have to write something motivational to the audience. Tweet at least twice a day. And when I say tweet, not just, bashing someone or a tweet that has no meaning. Tweet something meaningful to the audience and advice. For example, how can you be optimistic? How can you start your day with an optimistic? Maybe have a cup of coffee the first thing in the morning. And when you drink that cup of coffee, don't just rush it. Enjoy that cup of coffee. That will lighten your mood. Tweet that. Do that on Instagram. Do that on Snapchat. Why? Because people will now start to look at you as a role model, as an idol. They saw you speak, and now they think this guy must have a lot of things to offer. They don't even know that you're just a regular human being. I am just a regular human being. I have my flaws, I have my mistakes, I have my ups and downs, but people are now looking up to you. So give them something to look up to. Step number 7. And this is very important. I would like you to listen to this very carefully. Try to get an agent. And when I say an agent, a person who is an extrovert, that means he has a lot of friends, he knows a lot of people, and he has a lot of connection with people. And this person can promote you to speak at events. I have 4 agents, and I had the same deal with all these agents. Whatever event you get me, you're gonna get 20%, I get 80%. Now this intensifies the agent to market you a lot more. And also it's good for you that you would not have to deal with the logistics with the client. For example, if a client asks you to speak and you said, yes, my fees is like this much, and the client said, no, come on, can you give us a discount or whatever? Sometimes you might feel the pressure to say yes. But if you have an agent, the agent will do that. I mean, like the agent will be the bad guy and do all the negotiation for you, because the more he negotiates, the more like money he gets, the more his cut it will be. So it's in his best interest to get you the highest paying speaking job as much as possible. Step number 8, create a passive income when it comes to speaking. Now, how can you how can you actually do that? The best 2 ways that I can think of is YouTube and writing a book. So on YouTube, if you post a lot of like videos, if you just giving advices, if you giving motivation stuff, if you training on the things that you are expert at, the more people watch your YouTube videos, it gives you exposure, but at the same time, YouTube can pay you because your clip has a lot of views. Or write a book that people would love to read, a topic that nobody has spoken about before, and a topic that you're tackling it from a very like unique way, and contact a publisher who will just, he will just take care of all the logistics. You don't even have to pay like anything. You just get a cut of the sales of the book. That way, those stuff will work for you even if you're not speaking. Last two advices I would like to give you before we end is always develop something new. You do not want to be the speaker who's known for just one speech, because that will kill you as a speaker. The audience will think, oh my God, is this the only thing he has? Just this? But okay, it's great, but I want to see him or her doing something like different. So always be in the habit of reading a lot, researching a topic. Find topics that you know the society around you or the community is hungry for. Like one of the biggest topics that I'm working on right now is how to emerge out of a pandemic. And why am I doing this? Because I know this pandemic, hopefully in the next few months, will be over, and all the corporation now will want to bounce back and start fresh, start new. So I know it's a topic that's going to be in demand. So look at the community or look at the societies that you're in and ask yourself, what would the audience want to hear? And start your research and start to build a new material. Lastly, and I cannot stress this enough, ask yourself, why are you doing this? Why are you speaking? Because if you want to be a professional speaker for the money, I'm here to tell you, yes, it pays, but there's a lot more jobs that pays way more than being a speaker. Is it fame? Well, if you want to be famous, you can be an athlete or a singer or an actor. Speaker is down the list in terms of fame. So, ladies and gentlemen, why do we speak? We speak with the intention of changing a person's life. The fame and the money can come later, but first, you want to change someone's life. If you, for those of you who have heard of the motivational speaker Tony Robbins, the most famous motivational speaker in the world, Tony Robbins makes probably like $1 million for every event. $1 million every single event. His events are attended by thousands. You have to pay like $5,000 just to get in. And yet, sold out. However, if you go to YouTube and type Tony Robbins, you will see some of his old videos and some of his new ones. And I would like you to watch his old work and watch his new one. Of course, the new one is more refined, is highly edited and all of that. But ask yourself this question. Which one of the two are you connected more with? I guarantee you would connect more with his old work than his recent one. And the reason is, when he started, he had a really harsh life. He went through a lot of difficulties. And he spoke because he wanted to, he wanted the people to learn from the mistakes that he did and how they can avoid it, and the things that he did, and maybe it will work for them as well. He was speaking with a purpose. Of course, he's an amazing speaker. That's how he got famous. But now he's making a lot of money out of his speeches. And recently when he speaks, even though he's still an amazing speaker, you can't help but feel it's not really 100% genuine. Because money is now involved. He had the same speech that he repeats over and over again, even though it's amazing and it's perfect. But you keep asking yourself, what happened to the person who used to speak with a soul, who used to speak with a heart? Yes, being a professional speaker is amazing. You get to travel the world and you get to have a lot more fans and a lot more people would listen to you. But honestly, the biggest satisfaction is when someone texts you or email you a week after you spoke and he says, I just wanted to thank you for saying something that changed my life. Because that's what you want to get out of this life. You want to leave while knowing that you made a difference in at least one person's life. If you can do that, the money and the fame and all of it can go away. This will last a lifetime. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, Mr. Mohammed Qahtani, and let's give a round of applause. And definitely you have changed our lives as well here. And here we comes to a Q&A session with the world champion speaker, Mr. Mohammed Qahtani. And here we have prepared some questions for the Q&A session. And the first question for Mr. Qahtani would be, sometimes speakers may struggle with audience engagement. How should this be tackled? Sometimes speakers may struggle with audience engagement. So how should we do with it?
Well, when you get invited to speak, you have to first ask the client, who are the audience? What is the age group? How many are going to be there? And what is the layout of the room? Is it going to be a stage or is it going to be around the tables? And because this information will help you to tailor your speech to fit that audience. Yes, the speech is already done, you already wrote it, but you can tailor the speech to fit an audience. For example, if you notice that your audience are mainly young, like in their 20s, then you have to go there with the mind that I have to put or inject a lot of humor because young people love to laugh. If your audience are a bit on the older side, then you go there with the intention of adding more stories because older people love to hear stories. If the room is going to be rounded tables, then you know that you're going to be there early so you can know where to move in between the tables to keep the audience engaged. However, it's not always a slam dunk, as we say. I've had events where I've done my homework, I knew the audience, and I went there and I noticed there are some audience who are not fully engaged. You cannot have the engagement of everybody. Always remember, every time you speak, there's at least one person in the audience who does not want to listen to you. He's there against his will. He's there because his boss forced him to attend this workshop or training or whatever. He does not want to be there. And during the event or during the training, you might try to get the attention of that audience member, but you might try once or twice or three times, but the person is not giving you anything. Let me ask you this: is it worth it to lose the entire room, everybody, just because of that one person? Please, I beg of you, give me your attention, please. No, it's not worth it. You tried more than once. If he's not giving you the attention, then just leave it. You're not gonna please everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Mohammed Qahtani, for this first question that is being well engaged with the audience, but let's only focus on those who are engaged. After all, this is a very good one. And the next question we would like to ask is, what if, for the very first time that we become the professional speaker, what if I forget what I'm supposed to say on stage? What should I do? I'm new to be as a trainer, but what should I do if I forget something that I'm supposed to say on stage?
Okay, so the question is, what would happen if I forget something while I'm on stage? It shouldn't actually be asked why, because as I said, the first step is you have to build the material. You can't just go there not knowing what you're going to be speaking about or just thinking it's going to come to me. You have to go there with after you've done the long homework of doing the speech and refining it over and over and over and over again. However, if that happens and you forgot your place in, like you forgot your place in, like in the speech, a technique which I always do is I walk from one side of the stage to the other side, slowly walking, looking down. I look poised, people thinking, oh my God, this guy's really good. Well, in fact, I'm trying to think about my next statement. If I reach to the other side of the stage, I look up to the audience. If I remember what I have to say, I start speaking. If I don't, I say the very next thing which I remember. Your audience are not gonna know that you made a mistake because nobody knows your speech except you. And if halfway through the speech you remember what you have, like what you are supposed to say, don't go back and let's hear it again. Just let it go. Because if you did, you are now showing the audience that you made a mistake.
Thank you, Mr. Mohammed Qahtani. And there is a follow-up question for this because when we are showing a bit of not confident enough, so there will be hecklers. So what strategies we should use to go against these hecklers, meaning bullies in this workshop, for example?
All right. Now, there are two types of hecklers. The first type is what I call is a person who really, like, genuinely, like, heckles because he has a reason behind it. And the second one is a person who just wants attention. So the first one, what would that person do is he would ask you questions, and sometimes daring questions, just to put you on the spot. You cannot evade the question if you know the answer. If you don't know the answer, you can say, I'm sorry, sir, I don't have the answer with me right now, but we can speak after the event and I can look it up for you. The second type of heckler, who is just want to heckle you just so he can get the laughs and he can get people like around. You have to put that person in his place. And what I do is, if I'm speaking and a person just heckles me, I just say, okay, I want to answer your question, but I want to focus on something that's more important. So let's just keep it. What I just did is I just heckled him back. I made him sound like his heckle or like whatever he said is not even worthy of my time to address. And that puts him down in his place. I try not to do it because you don't want to alienate your audience, but yes, sometimes you have a heckler who just wants to put you in a bad spot just to get a laugh, and you cannot just let that just get to you. You cannot even show him how upset you are, because if you did, then he succeeded. He got a reaction out of you. Show him that that person just doesn't matter.
Thank you, Mr. Qahtani. And obviously, I'm not a heckler. I'm a good fellow here. And our last question that is referring to, your world contest experience. How do you prepare mentally in going into the world contest final? And what's the key difference between the semi-final and the final speeches? May I have some of your experience sharing for this?
Usually, when people do the contest, they use their strongest speech in the semifinals, because you want to get a shot to get to the to actually get into into the finals. And that's actually like what I did as well. The speech that I gave in my in the qualifying rounds, in the semifinals, was much stronger and much closer to my heart than the power of words which I gave in in the finals. However, in terms of preparing mentally or preparing, a lot of people who crack under that much pressure is because they have a lot of expectations behind it. If you are in the final stage, you think, oh my God, I might actually win. Oh my God, I might actually become a world champion. Let me tell you, as a world champion, it has no glamour. Within a few years, nobody will even remember who you are. In fact, if I ask you to journey back and mention who were the world champions in the year, I don't know, 1998 or 97, a lot of you will even struggle to know the names. A lot of the world champions that actually won recently they have no presence anymore. So honestly, being a world champion, it's no big deal. However, when you are on that stage, there are thousands of people who will get to watch you speak. Win or lose, it doesn't matter. But you get thousands of people to watch you speak. And if there is one thing that you want to tell the world, that is your chance.
Thank you, Mr. Mohammed Qahtani. And I believe this stage here, we at least have 100 of us when we are witnessing this moment, and we appreciate having Mohammed Qahtani, Mr. Mohammed Qahtani, to be here for the workshop for us. And thank you.